saw some steam today.
Ooh, preview. We got Spicy Jamie hopping in here. Hey guys, welcome back to Total Spotfest. Spicy Jamie's over there. Regular JJ's over here, and I ran out of monikers. Holy shit.
I would describe myself as fairly irregular.
Stashalicious.
That works too.
Stashtastic Austin Reddick down below us here. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Thank you for hopping in with us here as we chit-chat a little about Dynamite and some other stuff that may or may not get some heat going on here. We don't know yet. We know, but no, we appreciate you guys. Hey, if you're first time watching us, hi, welcome in. JJ, Jamie, Austin. Comment down below into the chat. We are live. If you're watching on the replay, hit us a comment, like, subscribe, share. Follow us on Twitter at Total Spotfest. We talked a little bit about this, but it's been a bit of a long period of time here in the past 36 hours or so, specifically for one of us.
Yeah, long time. So yeah, let's just hop right into it.
Let's get right into it. Austin, how you doing today, by the way, man?
I am doing well. Appreciate you asking. Having a pretty solid week. It finally cooled off and felt like fall. Got to get a little weather talk in real quick.
Awesome.
It was nice.
Today
nice little brisk breeze in the morning. Like it's coming. I see you got your jersey on. We are less than 24 hours away from the return of football. Things are going well.
Really thought Jamie was going to wear his jersey tonight because his team kicks off tomorrow. I thought that for sure you're going to wear it.
I felt it'd be bad taste to wear Chris Jones' jersey.
Oh, that's your jersey?
Yeah, it's my guy. That's my guy. And I ain't mad at him. I love the guy. He's my guy. So
I do know. Okay, quick football talk.
Money.
Sorry guys, we're gonna get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. Quick football talk. So my friends from college, we have group chat, and all that stuff, right? But I just text out a picture of a screenshot of the ESPN app with the Joey Bosa news that came out today. He goes, "Well, shit."
He's an end. They get different money than D tackles.
I know.
So we're okay.
But for Jones, I'll say TJ got paid. Bosa got paid. Donald's been getting paid.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, best of luck to everybody's teams this year, unless you are a Cleveland Browns fan. Then you can go to hell, okay? So let's talk about some wrestling, shall we?
I'm in.
All right, so first and foremost, if you haven't caught it already, please check out our All Out review. It's our second consecutive week of pay-per-views. And, boy, they're going to keep on coming because we got October 1st and then November 17th is...
Don't forget you glossed over that somebody did win the belt the first week and retained it the second week. Just want to make sure everybody's aware.
Yeah. There's a belt and stuff happened with that too, but
which I still don't have the graphic.
Well, I got rid of it because I'm trying to get not super cluttered on the screen here because we got three people on here now.
It's just a little guy.
All right, I'll give you a little guy. All right,
next week, on there, but make it comically small.
Yes,
that would be hilarious.
It's gonna be ridiculously small. All right. You want a little guy? You got it, Jamie. You got it. All right.
You want a toe? I'll get you a freaking toe.
Hold on. Let me get my pen out here. I forgot we're doing that too. But no, All Out review. We all spoiler. We all loved All Out. It was a lot better than a couple of us thought going into it, and man, it was fantastic. It was really good. So please check out our review. Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about the big news story from over the weekend, though, because we wanted to save it for tonight. And now that Jamie's sleep deprived, this is going to be fun. So, Christopher Matthew Punk. I am stealing Heather's gimmick. I don't care. Heather, it's a great gimmick. I'm stealing it. CM Punk, officially on the advice of AEW legal and outside counsel, has been released. He's been future endeavored, and that's the way Tony Punk opened Collision in Chicago, which went over just about as well as you would imagine. So, 8 years later, here we are again. What are your guys' thoughts about CM Punk? Jamie, you became the Punk.
No. I'll wait.
You default.
Yeah.
Right on. If I'm kicking this off, why don't we hit the gimmick and jump right into a little stash of knowledge?
Because if we're going to talk about Punk, we need to have some knowledge to go with it.
I'm going to drop some knowledge about Charles Montgomery Punk.
The Montgomery's the best one to do. It sounds so good, right?
It is. And it's so villainous too. So I want to start, not even going right into Punk himself, but a big old salute to Mr. Nervous CEO Tony Khan walking out there in front of the Chicago crowd and being like, look, here's the deal. He was being a dick to a degree that would get us in legal trouble. I had to fire him. Ultimately, it was on me, but we're going to have a kick-ass show. Please bear with us. That takes some absolute stones to go out in front of that crowd and say, I'm the guy that's keeping you from getting the dude you all came to see. Now, from there, I mean, obviously, initial boos, but we talked about the crowd kind of warming up, and I think that was a huge step in making this whole situation resolve a lot quicker. Pull the Band-Aid off. Hey, he's gone. We're moving on. Enjoy the show. Cool. As far as what happened itself, I know a couple weeks ago, I went on my little rant about don't feed the trolls, don't read the shitty opinions on the internet.
Right.
But boy, have there been a lot in this situation. I am not someone that's historically been a huge Jungle Boy fan. I have enjoyed his recent heel turn. I've been entertained by it. I've wanted to see more, but I've got no reason to go overboard to defend the guy. But I have seen literal people calling for him to be fired over making a snarky comment into the camera. Like, it's his fault that CM Punk decided to punch him about it. That's the stash of knowledge, not only for the pro wrestling business, but life in general. If someone says something shitty to you and you punch them for it, there are consequences. It's just going to happen. This isn't the Wild West. And even if it were, as someone who just happens to really enjoy reading about the Old West, especially living here in Wichita, an old cow town, if someone said something and you walked up and punched them in front of everybody, you typically still face consequences. That's how shit works, especially if you're at work and especially if you're right in front of the boss. I very seldomly give Eric Bischoff credit for anything, but his line about why is there an investigation that's all happened directly in front of the owner of the company popped the living shit out of me, because it's as cut and dry as that. You can do just about anything and get away with it if you're a top star until you get the company in legal trouble, which assaulting a coworker in front of God and everybody is going to get the company in legal trouble. That's why I don't see any problem at all with what Jungle Boy did. It was in character. It was his shitty little spoiled heel character. It went to get some heat. Yeah, it was a dig at Punk. Cool. That's entertaining because I knew the little bit of backstory on it. But there was nothing out of line about it. For Punk to sucker punch him and then choke him over it, again, right in front of the CEO, right in front of everybody. This isn't a locker room brawl out situation. It's just there and happening. It's inexcusable. Punk's gone. And honestly, I think AEW is going to be better for it. Even if some people will tune out, I think a lot of the super vocal people weren't really watching it anyway, or they were just tuning in for Punk and then leaving. But there's just no room for it. And I asked y'all a question after All Out that we wanted to table for tonight, and I'll ask it again for anyone listening to jump in the comments if they have a reply. Where on that entire show of All Out would Punk have made the show better?
And the simple answer is nowhere.
Perfect without him, even in front of the Chicago crowd. Dragon and Starks was way better than Punk and Starks ever would have been.
That's an understatement.
And It's a fantastic stash of knowledge. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back because we gotta leave this in posterity. But we're gonna keep talking about Cincinnati Montavious Punk. I'm
Montavious in there.
The Montavious was good, but I couldn't think of a C word to come up quick enough with it. So fuck me running. I think that the biggest thing that gets me, and Heather touched on this here, that Jungle Boy, of all people, freaking Jungle Boy. Like, what does Punk have to do with Jungle Boy, I heard the story about why they didn't want to use real glass. Well, whatever, of all things, why do you let a kid push you around like that or push your buttons that much, And I think it all stems from Punk is Dennis Green, God rest his soul. I remember watching that Monday night game where the Cardinals, just coughed it up to the Bears and everything. And they are who we thought they are, right? We are who they thought they are, And that's Punk is who you thought he is, And I said 8 years later, same shit.
Mm-hmm. Missed that. I didn't know Dennis Green was dead.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Pour one out for Dennis Green. It probably happened years ago, but I just missed it. But yeah.
It actually happened when I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, training when I was selling timeshare. But anyway, long story short. Yeah, it's like, does it surprise me? Not in the least. Am I heartbroken? Not in the least. I started coming around on Punk because I thought, oh, he changed his ways. Time away, he's a little bit wiser. He's now settled down with AJ Lee for so long and this stuff. Nope, same old piece of shit he was back in WWE. And to your point, doesn't matter. Like, what do you do now? Well, you promote your talent that you have on the roster. MJF is the biggest thing in wrestling right now. And I am including the Fed in that, and I know that includes the whole Bloodline storyline, whatever. LA Knight's Meteoric Rise, which is awesome, MJF, homegrown. Jungle Boy, homegrown. Darby Allin, no matter how much Jamie hates watching his matches, homegrown, right? So, who needs Punk? We don't. Does Jamie though? Because Jamie was all in on Mr. Punkerton.
So I know everybody is wanting me to, back Chadwick Moriarty Punk.
Good one.
I just can't find it in me to do that in my current state of mind.
Russo Swerve, bro.
So I will say this. And apologies in advance, because I know I'm going to get very non-PC, because I'm going to use an analogy from a very, very terrible movie. Okay?
Oh, God.
Wait, really quick. If you announce it ahead of time, does it count towards the total of movie quotes?
No. This does not count towards... Okay.
Okay,
so,
that's good.
Hold on. I get the pass if I go, with all due respect. I can say whatever I want after, right, guys?
So I hope YouTube and their community strike guidelines pay attention to that. Okay. So
I wish you just had a button with like the bleeps like on TV, and you could just spam it while Jamie was talking.
Oh my God, the dump button will go nuts here in just a few seconds. So
I should get one. That'd be amazing.
So in life, and specifically in wrestling, there are 3 types of people. There are pussies, there are assholes, and there are dicks. Okay? And most of the time, pussies and assholes get along with each other very nicely. They're right by each other. They're friends. They kind of rub each other on. They're kind of there, but whatever. And then they become these dicks. CM Punk is a dick. Okay? Hopefully everybody knows where I'm going with this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if people are not familiar with the movie, they're probably concerned at the moment.
So
but continue.
Yeah. So as we all know,
good reference.
Dicks fuck pussies. And before, Tony Khan, we all probably thought was a pussy, right? Like, we could all say that. Like, he's just letting things happen. But, you know, then you have, like, the bad guys, too, that, like, the locker room cancer types, that some people have the stigma. You know, those are your assholes, right? Use dicks. Dicks fuck assholes, too. But here's the thing. They get shit everywhere. They do. They just get shit everywhere, and just things just happen. Well, every now and again, assholes and pussies they're done with dicks, and they just move on. They're just done. This is that moment, ladies and gentlemen. This is that moment. No more CM Punk dick. He's gone. Gone forever.
No more dick.
No more dick. AEW is dickless, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm trying to get to. AEW is dickless.
Oh.
And I think we're all better for it. You know, and I will have to say Tony Khan showed me something with doing this. Granted, the legal team helped, and fuck Jim Cornette with what he was trying to say. This is the legal team who got him fired. But you know, that's a different thing for
Jim
me.
Cornette being Jim Cornette. Fuck that guy.
But for all those who don't know, I was referencing Team America. Just so you know, do yourself a favor. Probably don't watch that movie, but it's absolutely amazing.
Corky Murdoch. That's a good one. I like
Corky Murdoch. So he's had multiple strikes, everything. And the fact, so I do want to call out something that you said, and I know I'm going on this rant, and I apologize. Austin, you did say something that I do want to call out. It's like the heat that Jungle Boy got, or JBJP got. That's standard issued heat, man. Like, if you have something, you go after it. Freaking perfect example. Christian Cage. So I heard you have a father. Like, that whole thing, like going after somebody's dead father. Like, is somebody gonna punch him for real just because he's going after their dead father? Like, my mom's dead. Like, my kids like do the your mom thing to me all the time. You know, they're like, hey, it's like, hey, what's to eat? It's like, your mom. I'm like, well, we're eating ashes because that's kind of messed up. You know, like, that's what I'll say to my own kids. So it's like, you know, it's like, I'm not going to punch my kid just because they came after me because I disagreed with something. Like, that is the most sophomoric, idiotic thing of all time. And he bitched about how he worked with children. He is the child in this situation. This company is taking a big leap forward. They have great talent. Let's move forward. And officially, they're dickless.
And you know, you're exactly right. They're much better off without. And the moral of the story, and this is probably the funniest thing that I find in all of this, even more the fact that it was Jungle Boy's soft ass, because that wasn't really that big of a dick. Really, that wasn't really that big of a dick.
It wasn't even that bad.
It's a tiny fucking dig, right? Yeah, but even with that, the funniest thing is that one night later in Chicago, in a sold out Sears Center, U.S. whatever, you know.
Now Arena.
No, it wasn't the Now Arena. Whatever. United Center. Thank you. I can't. It's one of those Chicago companies. United Center. They didn't even care. Like Austin said, there was a couple little mumblings of CM Punk. They didn't even care. And in 6 months, nobody's going to remember even CM Punk. And that's the truthfulness of it, right? When AJ Styles left TNA, and that was all contract. That was not drama. It was just all contract. It was all money. All money related, right? They did the big storyline about, you know, him and Dixie, and he walked away with the belt and all this thing, you know. TNA suffered for the next 3 years, you know, because they bet everything on AJ Styles and then didn't pay him, and then whoop, out the door, right? AEW's not going to, it doesn't matter. We've already moved up 5 different storylines ahead of him. And nobody cares. And I think that that's going to end up being CM Punk's legacy, is that he's Mr. Chicago that could have been the greatest of all time if he cared about more than CM Punk.
Yeah, really quick on the nobody cares. Just to drive that point home, the crowd booed the Bucks and started a CM Punk chat at the beginning of that 8-man tag. and they were cheering the shit out of the Bucks 10 minutes later throughout the rest of the match. I might have missed it. I didn't hear CM Punk chants all throughout tonight, like when he left WWE the first time for years.
Nope.
And even after Brawl Out, when he left AEW for a while, you still got some CM Punk chants for a while.
You did.
It seems like the audience has largely moved on. I think the only misstep in the handling of this, and maybe I would just take it a little too far, I think suspending Jungle Boy was not necessary. This seems very much like he didn't do anything that you haven't let slide for a bunch of your other talent. He made a little comment on air. He didn't start a fight with Punk. He didn't throw the first punch. He didn't challenge him to a fight. By all reports, he said he was trying to get heat. Now, was he also taking a dig? Absolutely. Since when has that been something that gets you punished in pro wrestling of all fucking things?
Well, in anything, I know for a fact, Jimmy and myself have both taken digs at coworkers at meetings before in a professional environment. Jimmy's taken a lot of digs at other people in front of like everybody.
That hurt a little bit of feelings, but it was done to a camera in character to get himself over. What I would do if I was Tony Khan, I would have had Jungle Boy out there with a mic tonight. And without ever saying his name, I would have told the crowd, yeah, I'm the reason he's gone. He tried fighting JBJP. Look what happens if you cross me. And then send whoever he's feuding with next out there and kick that off. And let Jungle Boy get some heat from the crowd with this, because it'll be good heat from the crowd. They're going to boo him. The people that like Punk are going to boo him at first. The people that don't like Punk in the crowd are going to cheer him for it. And even though he's a heel, he's getting even louder reactions now. Right. I would run with it.
You're close enough to Chicago. You would have got good heat there too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I don't fault them for just letting it go, moving on, and they moved on. Like was said a few minutes ago, they started 5 or 6 new stories tonight. They're trucking along, and they're better for it. So you don't need that bullshit anymore.
Well, CM Punk's going to go back because Triple H ain't taking him back. Not a chance in hell. They make a run of it, but not really.
So here's where I would disagree with you a little bit.
You think that they'll jump on that?
I think if it was up to Triple H exclusively, not a chance in hell he comes back.
That's a good point.
WWE, as soon as the end of this week, is being purchased by the company that owns the UFC, who will pay anybody to fight for them if they're a pay-per-view draw. They don't care about baggage and bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
WWE's going from their own publicly traded company and a little more corporate to the corporation that Dana fucking White works for, who literally slapped his wife on camera not 9 months ago to zero consequence.
It's they slap league right after.
Yeah, if they think he can move, if they think Punk can move the needle, I think he ends up there.
Good point.
And I think on Punk's end, I think Punk ends up there too. I think he's too thin-skinned. I think the ego's too big. He's gonna go into another.
He's gonna talk shit on Tony Khan on national television because that's what he does.
Unfortunately for Punk, the WWE roster is significantly larger, and more of them are trained actual martial artists. Yeah, I don't think sucker punching someone backstage at Raw would end up the same as it did at All.
There's enough people still in the organization that hate him from his first time around.
Yeah,
so we'll see. Honestly, knowing Punk, he probably won't sign. Blame WWE for not signing him, and just be the squawk box that he was for the 6.5 years he was out of combat sports.
Yeah, and
that's who CM Punk really is. That's
why
who he
come
really
back
is.
and put yourself through all this too? You could have started a podcast and made easy money on the internet as long as you wanted to talk into a microphone and avoided all of this bullshit.
Maybe you should talk to Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana knows how to do those things.
Hey, maybe we'll see him back soon.
I was hoping he'd be out tonight. I was so hoping he'd have a match tonight. But
anyway,
you guys want to talk Dynamite?
Let's move on.
Some Dynamite.
Let's bury this discussion just like AEW is going to bury the history and memory of CM Punk. So let's move on and talk about new things, because I would say that would be my theme for the evening. It's post all in, post all out. Time for some new stuff.
Yeah, they got to build their storylines for the next pay-per-view and also Grand Slam.
2
So
weeks.
I will have to say this before we even start. This show is definitely not about the wrestling because honestly, the wrestling tonight was just okay.
Yeah.
It was definitely about the storylines. And honestly, I'm happy that they actually took the time to do some legit storyline setup. And they started off with somebody who I've been clamoring to actually have a real damn storyline. And he's getting one. And that's where we're starting. Orange Cassidy came out, gave just a, hey, yeah, I'm freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and I don't have a catchphrase. And
this is
and
Jamie.
ladies,
Jamie's like, receipts. I got receipts, bitches.
yeah. So he does that, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, I am Jamie Faulkner. I am fairly fat, and I do have a catchphrase. But that's just
You
me.
got a couple.
So he does that right after that Moxley comes out. So clearly the him and Moxley thing's not done because Moxley had a match with AR Fox. Match of the night. Honestly, actually, it was not my match of the night. I'm going to give it to somebody else because somebody else deserves their effing flowers. But
Right there with you.
yeah, so this match was good. AR Fox is amazing. It was solid, brutal like usual. If you were shocked that John Moxley retained, I'm sorry.
Welcome to
but he
AEW.
totally retained.
I do miss, and I'm going to keep saying this until something else happens, but I do miss the fact that we had AR Fox and Swerve in what was, I felt like, gimmick gold, and we don't anymore. It's just, now AR Fox is just generic face guy.
Well, he had some issues with his passport, is what I heard. Like he said he could travel, and they come to find out he hasn't had a passport in like 8 years.
Yeah,
Well-
that's what I heard through the internet. So take that with whatever grain of salt you wish. But I heard he kind of fumbled the ball a bit on not realizing you can't go wrestle internationally without a passport. Told him he was good, and he wasn't, and he got a bit of heat about that.
Okay, well, touche. I still miss that. Hopefully they'll come back to it. But
Yeah, Swerve and AR Fox, I thought there was a lot of legs of that, and it's unfortunate they pulled the rug out early. We'll get to it later in the evening, but Swerve's new buddy is slightly less effective for several reasons. No, this opener though, Mox and AR Fox was exactly what you thought it was going to be. It was good. Mox wins. Cool. I kind of wish if since the rest of the episode, like Jamie was saying, wasn't really as much about the wrestling, I wish they would have gave us a little bit bigger of a name in this match for the international title.
okay.
AR Fox hasn't really won much in a while.
That's a good point.
It's one of those ones, and I mean, no matter, like, Mox isn't dropping on his first defense, but
No.
you could throw someone else out there with a little bit better name to where it's maybe you gives you that little sliver of doubt where maybe it could happen. As far as Orange Cassidy and Mox, though, I kind of wish they would just put a pin in that for a while. Give it some time. Circle back to it later on. And this is my theme for the night, not for the entire night, but this is something that AEW does a lot. They did it with the Blind Eliminator Tag Tournament as well. I like the regular tournaments. You have a big roster, give people reasons to wrestle. Anytime there's stakes, it's more entertaining. Give me some rhyme or reason on commentary. Who gets selected for these and why?
Yeah.
Like, why is Jeff Hardy in this Eliminator tournament, but Orange fucking Cassidy isn't? The guy who just lost the international title, but has been your workhorse for like 6 straight months. Why is Nick Wayne in there, who hasn't beaten anyone of note on his own? And you've got, like Miro is out. And that doesn't mean you have to put these people in. Give me a gimmick reason on commentary, like, hey, we did it this way. Here's why these people are here. And it makes more sense. But yeah, like, I would have liked to see Orange Cassidy in this tournament. Give me Orange Cassidy and Joe in round 1, said Jeff Hardy.
Especially in Jamie, because at the beginning, and it's always been said, because AEW keeps track of your wins and losses, and records matter, right? Remember the top five rankings that we had for the longest time that are now nowhere to be found, right?
The first 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. That was the gimmick, right? Does that wins matter? Well, Nick Wayne, Jeff
Wins don't
Hardy,
matter anymore.
do they?
If you just want to give people opportunities, that's cool. Put over a commentary. Be like, hey, yeah, we took the top, 6 group of guys, but we decided to throw 2 wild cards in there because anything can happen in pro wrestling.
Cool.
Cool.
You've explained.
I'm here with it. Just
Yeah.
give me that little bit.
Right after the match, Darby checked on Fox, raised his hand, but then of course Nick Wayne's kind of look at him all like broody,
Yeah,
teen
from the back,
angsty,
right? Mm-hmm.
and then of course Christian Cage is right there, and it's like maybe you should be around somebody.
When he tells him that he apologized, he said he looked into his father, and
Yes.
he wants, I gotta give you a sincere apology. He's worse than I imagined.
Yeah.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Say hi to your mom. I was getting ready to say that. So I think Christian Cage needs to change his entrance music to Father Figure by George Michael.
That's our show, guys. We can't go anywhere but down from here.
I think that's perfect for him. All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are at flower time. And fight me for it. I don't care what anybody says. We had Chris Statlander defending her TBS championship on TBS. Because she's mainly been on TNT doing it, but that's a different thing. Against none other than Emi Sakura. So Emi Sakura's fucking amazing. I don't care what anybody says. She is so damn good. So good. This match was a good match, and I 100% believe it's because of Emi Sakura. Because I like Stat. Don't get me wrong. I like Stat, but Emi Sakura, oh my god, that crossbody into the freaking steel steps was beautiful. Like, she is so good, and she deserves her flowers. Match of the night just because of her.
Emi Sakura's unsung, and she's one of the ones that we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think it was like was it before All In or like in between All In? I don't even remember, but it's through a bunch of women on TV we haven't seen in months, right? And which is good, but Emi's one because she's that old vet, right? She trained how many people over in Japan, right? She knows this business. And no offense to Chris Statlander, we talked about some of our issues with her shortcomings as a character inside of the ring, let's put it that way. On Sunday, Emi's a good person to kind of counterbalance that, right? Because she's so flamboyant over the top, but very good at what she does too, to Jamie's point. So I don't think it was match of the night, quality, but I thought it was a very good and a different look at the women's division. And you're at least putting some sort of story inside of Statlander, because she ends it with the whole little promo into the camera, anybody, anywhere, anytime, right? Okay. The whole, I'll fight anybody gimmick. Oldie but a goodie. Cool, right? At least we got something from her.
Yeah, so this match suffered from the same thing the first match suffered from. Impromptu title match against someone that is never going to win the title.
Yeah.
Although she very much should. Give me Emi Sakura upsetting Statlander, winning the TBS title, and give her a nice little run while you build up someone else to put that on. I'm here for that all day. Much like Jamie, I'm giving Emi Sakura match of the night. Statlander, I was there. Chris Statlander can execute everything in the ring as well as you could possibly need to. She just has a negative amount of what they call it. It's just there's no connection there.
Yeah.
And people she gets pops on winning on the entrance and stuff, but in between there's nothing there. It doesn't look like someone that's in the middle of this athletic contest. It just looks like someone that's doing their moves and getting through it.
It's like the reverse Britt Baker almost.
Yeah.
You get the same sort of effect, but it's not for lack of trying.
Their powers combined.
Yeah, and it's like Statlander has a great look, different size than a lot of the women you see. Very athletic. All the physical tools are there. Just and like even tonight, I forget what it was that she hit, but she had a fire up, and you heard the crowd come up, and then it lasted about 5 seconds, and then they were just kind of done because that you can throw your arms out, but you have to look like you're really feeling it because people can see through that. And I think that's what happens with Statlander. Emmy Sakura being on my TV on Wednesday night, I'm always here for. I would like more of it, especially because if you would have given her some more matches over the last few weeks, we would be a little bit more inclined to believe she could win tonight. And also we would have had more of her on our TV and she's entertaining as all fucking get out. So it's kind of a win-win. I like seeing the new faces, but let's get some stories, some quick little backstage segments, so we're kind of invested in these people. And then when they get these opportunities, it's even bigger. Not everyone is a low-key Emmy Sakura fan and is pumped at your casual audience.
Sure.
Just they only see her lose, they don't really know.
Yeah. I will say this about possible storylines for Stat. So I believe no matter what, the next big bout is her last with this belt.
Okay. Next few.
Yeah, so it's gonna be one of two people. This is not necessarily Mark Stradamus, it might be. But it's either gonna be returning Jade Cargill coming back for her belt, which makes a lot of sense because she did the open challenge and she lost, so tit for tat. Or Thunder Rosa.
I
legitimize this belt. She's ready to go at any time.
Yeah. I think Thunder Rosa makes a lot of sense on so many different levels, to be honest with you, except for the whole like what shows on what network part. But other than that, yes, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think Rosa makes a lot more sense than Jade. I remember hearing a while back, Jade just might not come back. She might just kind of be done.
If she does come back, she's going to want to be top card, right?
Does she deserve it?
Whatever. But
if Jade comes back and wins the title right back from Statlander, probably a solid initial pop. People always pop for returns and unexpected title changes. But after that, you are right back to the same place you were 2 to 3 months ago where, okay, we're kind of tired of seeing Jade as TBS champion just beating everybody. I think if Jade comes back, putting her into the AEW Women's Championship picture makes more sense because it's new, it's exciting. People she hasn't really worked much with. I think Rosa coming back and winning it makes a ton more sense. Or put it on the Bunny just because the Bunny's the best.
Or Ruby.
That's fair.
Hey, Ruby.
Or Ruby. But Ruby can't win anything.
God damn it, she's going to win one sometime. I swear to God. All right.
Nope.
People said that about the Chiefs for years, and look at that. Last 5 years, just best 5 years in their history. I mean, Ruby's going to have her Chiefs moment. You mark my words.
No, she's going to have the current Steelers moment.
Oh, where nobody sees it coming, and we're going to shock the world and beat the fuck out of y'all this year? Dude, don't sleep on the Steelers.
Homer, man.
Best defense in the league, first of all. And
what? Hot take. Have you seen the team in San Francisco?
Well, we're gonna see them this Sunday. So yeah, let's determine that on the field. On the field. Let's see it on the field.
That's the best defense in the NFL.
Please.
Then the Eagles.
The Eagles? Oh, let's go back to wrestling. Seriously, Jamie knows stuff about wrestling. Let's go back to that.
They were ranked the number 3 defense, but whatever. All right. Anyway, yours is like 10. Anyway, so we're gonna move on. Can we just talk about how great Roderick Strong is right now?
Yes, please. I want to do lots of talking about Roderick Strong. Let's do it.
First off, like his image graphic of him just like wearing a button up with the damn neck brace with glasses is the best damn thing I saw all night. Like
Tony Schiavone popped
so
hard that I almost spit out my liquid death.
They did the video package where he talked about his parents, talked about how his mom was a drug addict, and his dad was alcoholic. I was like, my God, dude. Where was this in NXT and WWE? Because this is the best Roderick Strong I've ever seen, and I need him on my TV more now.
And the Kingdom are playing the perfect little side parts to it. Even I've had long an issue with Matt Taven because of just the persona. This is good, Matt Taven. I like Matt Taven in the ring. They are doing like this whole thing. I love all of this.
Yeah, there's just solid, entertaining pro wrestling TV. Like, just give as many people as you can something interesting to do. Even the Kingdom, like, you don't hear them talk much. You don't even really see them wrestle, but them just being included in this package with Roddy makes them more interesting too.
Yeah. Yes, and no Maria too, because basically they were Maria's peeps. Because everybody wants to see Marie Kanellis. Now, like, this is so much better for them. I think
this is very much better for them. Let's talk about the match. Let's go right into the match too. We don't have to be completely chronological.
Well, no, then we have to talk about MJF because that plays a big part of it too.
Point. Never mind. You're right.
Yeah, there was a little overlap there.
You're right. I'm sorry.
So we'll talk about the Sex Gods going against Aussie Open and how the mighty have fallen with Aussie Open. I loved Aussie Open in New Japan. I thought they were excellent. And they were Ring of Honor, and then now they just been on this nasty losing streak, especially against the Sex Gods.
I just don't. I don't like any of this. It's just like this to me was the low point of the night because I just don't care. It's Jericho looking for screen time. We doesn't need any more. Take a break take a month off for God's sake. We got a pay-per-view every month now. Take a month off, Jericho. Just relax. I don't care about any of this. The crowd doesn't care either. Like the whole him and Sammy are pushing and shoving each other. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's a slow burn of Sammy going to Callis. That's all this is. I mean, does anybody see anything different?
No,
I don't think he goes to Callis. I think he just well, one, I think I mentioned this last week. I'm pretty sure that kid's coming sometime in the near future, so he'll probably take a little time off. It's leading to Sammy versus Jericho for sure. Hopefully a Grand Slam, so we don't waste a pay-per-view match on that, but probably at Full Gear.
Probably Full Gear.
Which means, if it's at Full Gear, we've got 2 more months of this. I'm just not interested by Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara and anything they're doing. It's just, there's nothing entertaining there. Okay, they're not getting along. Just fight about it. We've been watching friends fight in various combinations for like the last 9 months straight. Just have a match about it. This like long, slow burn where the payoff isn't something anyone gives a shit about. It's wasting a 15-minute segment of TV. And if they're going to end up shoving each other and shit afterwards anyway, just put Aussie Open over. You have a young tag team that's real good and over with your crowd. Why waste them just to push this storyline no one gives a shit about further along?
Yeah. I'm over it. I'm over it. They wrapped this up already, and then nope, they didn't. It's going on. But Don Callis has a new masterpiece he's going to reveal next week, though. So there's that.
It's gonna be him, Takeshita, and Sammy Guevara. Guaranteed.
Cool. Let's do it. Just put him in the family.
Yes. Moving on swiftly. A nice little vignette package of Ricky Starks talking about his loss to Bryan Danielson, showing his back and all that stuff. That was really cool. And I loved how passionate he's like, I'm everything that I say I am. I am absolute Ricky Starks, and I'm gonna say it till I die. And it's like, Ricky is ready.
He's got a
in my
rocket
opinion
on his back, man. He is just.
He's ready for some gold.
Yep,
absolutely.
Well, now that you've done the full switcheroo, which I called you out and said I hated you like 3.5 months ago when we saw this coming, or sorry, when you saw this coming, now they made MJF face. At some point in time, you have the slide in Ricky going back. Now that they've reversed rows, but you're still going back. Ricky versus MJF. It was really good when we got it. It was also really quick when we got it. Now we can build this. I think at 24, even if MJF loses the belt, he's still going to be top card, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be really good.
Well, we're only 3 months away from the bidding war of 2024.
Do you think?
Yeah, MJF ain't going anywhere.
I think
He's not going anywhere.
No.
Tony's got more money.
Tony's like, hey, you know all that CM Punk money? Here you go.
I would say it's more likely than not he is already re-signed for several more years.
Probably.
And I don't think there's any way he would still have the title right now, and they would be. He's been the focal point for the last year. He's been their top guy since he came back. I don't think all of that would have happened if they weren't 100% sure he's our guy. And I think the bidding war at 24, it's all shtick, and it's great. Like, it works for the character. Why not go out there and do that? And I like that AEW has no problem about him doing that on TV as a character, going out and saying, hey, there's other options. I might go somewhere else. Why wouldn't a heel fucking say that? So,
it's perfect.
But I think he's already locked up.
I think they solved that during his absence, and he did the whole, like, fire me, you fucking mark bit, you know. I think that was around the time when they actually were hammering out the details and doing that, and then I'm sure they locked it in.
Because you imagine, AEW starts up. He wasn't a huge name when he came in. A lot of potential there, but he probably was on a contract that, hey, we need a little bit more money. Just like we talked about earlier in the NFL. Sometimes you sit out for a little bit and you need to get paid a little bit more. And they'll call you when they need you and they'll pay you what you want. And so I'm pretty sure MJF got paid everything he was looking for already.
Yeah. So let's just roll right into MJF, because I'm happy about what just happened and also utterly pissed about what just happened with MJF.
Okay.
So
which one do you want to start with? You want to start with
the tale
happy?
of two sides. We'll start with Happy Jamie on this, because I think everybody appreciates when Mad Jamie comes out. So MJF comes out.
Did you say bad? Did you say bad Jamie?
Mad Jamie.
Okay, I thought you said bad, like bad. I was like, did you call himself Bad Jamie? Really? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about myself in the fucking third person. Just let me go. So MJF comes out, and he talks about Grand Slam, this tournament, and then he starts talking about Joe. And as soon as he talks about Joe, here comes Joe.
Yes.
That made Jamie happy for 1 second.
Okay.
The promos were great. Well, that's fine. We can talk about the promos.
Oh, so not one literal second, a figurative second.
Yeah. And then it is like literally, oh, hey. Oh, that's exactly what I was like, oh, damn it. Because why would he be coming out right now when he's also a part of the tournament? Predetermined. We already know who's winning the damn tournament.
It's the tag team tournament all over again.
Before it even started.
Yep.
That's what pisses me off.
I don't think it's that set in stone.
You don't?
It needs to be Roddy?
I think it's going to end up being Roddy. I think they're going to keep the Joe thing going. Maybe we'll get Joe and MJF at Full Gear. I think Roddy wins the tournament because I think it's set up where is it Roddy and Joe on the same side, or are they opposite sides?
I think they're on opposite sides.
They're on opposite sides, yeah, because Roddy's facing the winner of the main. I spoiled one thing. Whatever. Yeah. The show already happened. Roddy, who cares?
So right? you get Roddy and Joe in the final.
Yeah. Because they're doing a collision side. No, they're doing a Rampage side and a Dynamite side. The semis are going to be on Collision. The next wins. So the two matches that were tonight face each other on Collision, and then 2 matches on Friday face each other on Collision. So yeah, it's going to be opposite sides. So it could be Roddy versus Joe in the finals based on the brackets, what you're saying.
Yeah, and then you've got the built-in story with Roddy and Joe, where Joe was the one that kicked the shit out of him originally, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
You've got the MJF, Adam Cole, and Kingdom shit tied all into that. There's a million ways where that match ends with Roddy winning because of something that happened with all those other characters involved.
Yeah.
That gives you more of a payoff to the Roddy Adam Cole storyline involved MJF at Grand Slam, and then you can save MJF and Samoa Joe, which I think is a legitimate AEW pay-per-view main event for Full Gear. Maybe Wrestle Dream. I don't know what they're really doing with Wrestle Dream. I could see them doing it there, but that seems like it's going to be more of a bring in New Japan guys, kind of mix it up kind of thing. But I think you save Joe and MJF pay-per-view and you do Roddy and MJF on free TV.
I'm with you.
Yeah, because confirmed they are on the opposite sides. I just looked at it. So Roderick Strong, and then the winner of Darby Allin, Nick Wayne, which we're going to talk about, and then the 2 matches on Rampage, Joe and Jeff Hardy, Jay Lethal versus Penta.
I want to just stop the press for a second because it is confirmed. Heather is on board with face MJF, by the way.
Welcome to the promised land.
I'm loosely on board with it.
He's losing to the grip. He's got the pickies off. He's got
I've said all along, it's generally entertaining, so it's not bad. And that's why I'm loosely on board. I don't
like
hate
it better that it's now not involved with the I mean, it's not as much involved with the tag team portion, at least for this moment. We're getting more
I think mostly because they didn't pull the trigger at All In, and we're getting this story extended, and things are kind of settling into place a bit. My only issue with face MJF, and this was actually what I was about to go into with this entire segment and the promos.
Yeah, take it away.
Mm-hmm.
MJF throughout that, he had moments where he looked like a baby face.
Still heel.
But you don't really believe him bucking up to Samoa Joe like a traditional baby face would. Like, you're sitting there like, just visually, you're looking at it thinking, oh, Joe should just kick his ass right now. There'd be like, you still look at him as it's like a little bit more of a cowardly character and all that. I thought the promos were good. I like babyface MJF standing up for himself and saying some stuff back. And then he kind of pulled you want me to hit you, but that's what you want, so I'm not going to do it. You're still getting these kind of heel things where it's not like super babyface to me. But like I said, it's super entertaining, so I'm gonna watch it no matter what.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with this whole segment, though, and like 95% of it was absolute gold. Quick shout out Samoa Joe. Last time I was involved in an ice cream truck, I was the biggest star in the other brand's network. Was cold as all fucking get out.
It was so good.
Joe,
Joe,
we have
love Joe.
We have shined or thrown flowers at Joe in the past because we all know what promo god he can do.
And that's the thing, like, you always forget Joe can talk, and it's always very authentic when Joe talks because he talks like a giant Samoan that'll beat your ass if you get mad about it. I liked
believable.
I liked Joe then after MJF slapping him, then taking the heel route because Joe's a heel and saying, you know what, I'm gonna fight through the tournament, then I'm gonna get your ass. And then as soon as MJF goes out of the ring, Joe kicks the middle rope to hit him in the nuts. I'm still on board. This segment is fucking great. And then MJF pops a quick comeback. And I know Joe hits the ST Joe and still puts him down anyway, but again, MJF is a babyface. Put him underneath. Like, your babyfaces need to have some moments of vulnerability. If Samoa Joe hits you in the nuts out of nowhere and starts beating your ass, you can just take that beating and come back the next week and move on. I think MJF then coming up and low blowing him back and fighting back, like, it was so unnecessary, and it didn't give you that, oh, he might be in danger sense that you want your baby faces to have at times. But I mean, outside of that, I thought this was a phenomenal segment. It was, man, both of them on the mic were great.
Oh, yeah. And then right after, at the very end, when Joe's trying to go for the muscle buster, here comes Adam Cole. And then this is our tie-in, JJ.
Sorry,
you were talking about.
I was getting a little too far ahead of myself there. I just want to get into it.
Really quick before we move on. So Samoa Joe beats up MJF for a good 30 to 45 seconds. Nothing is going on. But why is it when Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara start shoving each other after a match, within like 10 seconds, security's in there breaking it up?
It's elder abuse.
It's accurate. It's accurate.
I don't know. I'm happy to see this. I like the idea of delaying that a little bit because that kind of fits the Joe MO anyway too, right? He gets close, but he doesn't get through the championship. So F you, I'm gonna do it on my own way, whenever I can. They get the background story, the whole NXT push and shove, which was fine. I don't think it was necessary. Like, I don't think this is all I'm going to say. This is the only negative thing I have to say about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I don't think that MJF needs to have a personal backstory about every single person he's going to face. Okay? You don't need to make this about his history, about sometime coming up in the past there was a thing, right? He did with Cody, with Jericho, with CM Punk, with Adam Cole, with I can keep going.
Yeah,
right?
But this is so good though. Like literally, he did the push.
I get it. It's a very it's a very memorable moment, and
it smirked right about because he like basically recreated it. Like
it's a very memorable moment, and he did great with it. But I'm just saying, in general, cool. We don't need to have that, though, all the time. That's a one-string banjo is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and like you did the push last week. Like you recreated it. You don't have to come back the next week and explicitly lay out what settled. Like we saw it. And like we've seen the clips on the internet. Like we know what it was.
Cool.
You didn't need the long explanation tonight.
Like Joe's moniker is just like, I'm Joe. He's the Joe's gonna kill you, Joe, right? He's like, Joe want belt. That's basically it. Good. You don't need anything. You don't need to give it more for us to eat it out of our hand. I appreciate them doing it because it is on brand, like you said. It was good but you don't need to do it. So, whatever.
Yeah. And then I'm actually glad we hop back on this for a second because I have to give probably my absolute highlight of the night was Joe coming back out after Adam Cole rang him off just to call MJF a bitch one more time. That was so good, and it was so Samoa Joe. Like,
oh yeah,
why wouldn't he?
And right after he said bitch, here come Roderick Strong with the
Adam!
Yeah. What about Roderick? It is 100% what about Raven? I still get the vibes there. But he goes, what about my neck? And actually, Heather, I 100% agree with you. This was the line of the night until later when Tony absolutely murdered
Tony had
the line of the
night. It's our thumbnail for those of you watching the replay for a reason.
Yeah, but so he comes out, what about my neck? What about my neck? It was
He's come out to the ring for a match, and he still has the brace on.
And then they take it off, and then he has his match. They put it right back on, which I thought was perfect character play. This match was an excellent match, though.
This was my favorite match of the night.
It was Roddy. Roddy and
Trent.
Wrestler.
I'm simple, man. It's a great
Trent's
match.
always good.
Yeah. And they had some really good matches back in ROH Day, too, against each other. Back when Trent was, like, insane Trent, right? I really enjoyed this match. And I really liked, again, the Kingdom's part in it. Because they're not... It's just enough, I think Roddy was super whiny and it was hilarious. But now they kind of have shifted it around a little bit. Where he's still whiny, but it's not as much, and it's better, but it still plays into the story. And the Kingdom are just the perfect amount of spice in this this chicken parm sandwich from Wendy's. They better bring back that Italian chicken parm with the wheel of cheese, man. That thing was amazing.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sorry, Heather's talking, for those of you listening, our friend Heather is talking about Wendy's chicken inside of our chat, and it's now got me thinking about Wendy's chicken sandwiches.
Wendy's chicken sandwich is by far the best spicy chicken sandwich. Fight me for it.
No, absolutely. No
argument. I like Chick-fil-A, but Wendy's is on a completely different level. Especially when it's juicy. It's only when it's dry, it's not as good.
I've never had, and I hate to say this, I've never tried the Popeyes sandwich. Everybody raved about like 3 years ago or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that was a thing.
Okay. That goes to show you Wendy's is the best chicken sandwich because everybody knows Wendy's.
Absolutely. Like, why go anywhere else if you want a spicy chicken sandwich? That's where you go, Wendy's. They got the best one. No need for other options.
Anyway, I love this match. This is my match of the night. I thought it was great. I love Roddy. I love the things they're doing with Roddy. The brace comes off. The brace comes right back on.
So good.
God,
So damn good.
It's great. It's great.
All right. So after this, we had a quick yet amazing interview with Toni Storm. And I have to call this out. So Tony just has this like amnesia about taking the spray from Ruby. And like costing her in the match, and then they have a fatal 4-way or whatever, and the winner is going to face Saraya at
She
Grand
tells Renee
Slam.
not to live in the past.
Yes, not to live in the past, live in the future. Maybe next week she have an exclusive, but until then, chin up, tits out, and beware of the shoe.
Watch for the shoe.
Watch for the shoe. Yes, watch for the shoe. And then of course, a shoe went flying.
Shoe was thrown.
At Renee. My God, I love crazy Tony.
Not only was Tony perfect throughout this, but Renee was so good at the end, selling the confusion of watch for the shoe and then immediately reacting to the shoe fly, and then just come on, like.
And then, did everybody catch on at 0 hour of All In? She talked about Tony throwing the show. It's like, who throws a shoe?
Yes.
Honestly, I was like, yes.
Yes.
I'm not the only one who says that.
Oh my God, it just keeps getting better. I do feel though that they gotta start to do something with her in the next, before the next pay-per-view, right? Is she gonna probably be in line to face Saraya? That makes the most sense, because it's her, Nyla, Sheeta, and Britt Baker next week in the 4-way match. So does Tony make the most sense? Absolutely. I think that makes the most sense for New York, unless you guys disagree with me.
I think Tony does make the most sense. I kind of wish on that 4-way eliminator next week they would have replaced Britt and Sheeta. If Tony's going over, if one of those two's winning, keep them in. But
right. Could be
that's the same 4-way we saw it all in. Just Saraya's the champ, so she's not in it, and we threw Nyla in there. Going back to stop putting people in like eliminators and title matches that we know are never going to win.
What about
and
Willow?
I'd love to see Nyla win.
Why
Like,
not put Willow in there? Willow, you would think.
Exactly. And or just you could have spent the last few weeks building Nyla up a little bit more, getting her back in front of your TV audience. Because Nyla is a believable champion any day of the week. Like
100%.
Yes.
But you haven't done anything with her. We know she's not winning this 4-way. So why is she there? We just saw Britt and Sheeta get a shot at the title. Why are they back in there? If you want to send one in to get him to win, that's fine. Or just keep the Tony and Saraya thing going without that eliminator and just naturally get to the match. If that's where you're going. Whatever gets Toni Storm away from the Outcasts as soon as possible and into something else that's going to be more meaningful, I'm 100% here for. And by something more meaningful, as we talked about the other day, please just put her with Bullet Club Gold.
100%
Like,
Bullet Club Gold.
I need, and not just her and Juice. I need her and all 4 of them, like, just talking every week. You could print money.
It absolutely is, Heather. I know I don't have a Mark Stradamus hat. I don't have the track record that our esteemed colleague Jamie Faulkner over there has, of course. But I do have a little bit of a record there.
I almost do it with my hands.
Right. It's like you're holding all the Steelers Super Bowls, and I'm sitting here just holding the few that the Chiefs have won. So, yes, I did that.
Coming from a Mizzou fan who I was like, it's national championship.
Hey, I 100% said that you're absolutely right. I am. It comes to the NFL, and it's 100% the exact opposite, and I don't care. Well, let's go. We'll do it.
NFL's what have you done for me lately? And we've done a lot.
Sure it is. Now that you've won a couple of the most recent ones, now it's what have you done for me lately? Point being, wow, you just totally threw me off there. I don't know where I was going.
You're welcome.
We're talking.
You're not Mark Stradamus.
I've got a few. Here's what I think. Toni Storm wins next Wednesday. Easy peasy, right? We go to New York. We all preached and screamed and yelled and moaned for yay, cool, give Saraya the belt, make it short, right? I think they make it to past New York. Because I think Toni Storm losing the belt and her two best friends is the straw that can break her back. And who's there to pick her up but her husband and his three somewhat deranged friends in the Bang Bang Gang. That's the way you do it.
Don't forget the cutout.
Four. I'm sorry. 4 deranged friends.
That's
because I think it's that way, because she's on the edge right now. I mean, she was looking at paint flying in the air, for God's sake, it all out. So she gets a shot on this big stage and loses it, and then she just tumbles. Maybe give it a week or so of tumbling, but that gives you the opening to have Juice. You can make the relationship, TV official, right? Bring Juice in. That brings in Toni. Boom. Female Bullet Club member. First one ever.
Yeah, I just want backstage segments of her having conversations with the Jay White cardboard cutout.
Yes. Oh, that's the way they could do it. That's the segue. That's the segue.
That's amazing. I'm just thinking about it.
Here's this would be some of the best TV ever. Maybe just for me, because I enjoy terribly silly things. But find some way to book it to where there's a mixed tag match where Toni Storm has a mystery partner, and she comes out with the cardboard cutout of Jay White standing on the apron while she works this match, and then have the real Jay White and the rest of Bullet Club come out later or whatever. But I need Toni Storm with the cardboard cutout as the tag team partner. That would be some of the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Oh. It'd be amazing. Yes.
So good.
Tony Khan, make that happen.
Come on, Tony. Listen to us. I'll lay off the whole no 2 women's matches a week if you give us this, at least for a little bit. I'll get back to it, but give us this.
I mean, that's fair. So let's move on. So I thought personally, okay, you don't like this. I am on the other side of this. So I thought MJF Samoa Joe was a great segment. I personally felt this Hanger and Swerve was better for those two guys individually, because there were some stone cold facts being thrown out by one Swerve Strickland.
There was.
And if there's anything I love is when you get a little personal and you're talking fact. And Swerve was like, it seems like he doesn't want the spot or what? Like, he's straight calling him out. So getting those two in a storyline together makes a lot of sense, because Swerve is that good. Swerve needs to be that high. He deserves to be that high. Now, the whole Mogul Embassy thing, whatever, he could just be by himself and he'd do just fine. I don't care about. I don't care about the Mogul Embassy whatsoever. But if you just look at just those two guys, not Prince Nana, whatever, I think it's Nana, right?
Prince Nana.
Yeah. So don't look at that. Just look at what was said in there from Swerve to Hanger, and tell me when he's lying.
I don't disagree with that. That's of this whole thing. That's the one portion of it that I did like. It was just, I don't feel it was reciprocated very well on Hanger's part, and that's, to be fair, that's kind of Hanger's MO. he doesn't promo well in the other direction, right? He didn't for the only time he did is when he was involved in the Kenny Omega thing, and that was a whole nother story. And he had the Dark Order to tell his tale for him, basically, too, right? I don't mind Prince Nana. I'm not gonna lie, JB. I don't mind Nana with Swerve. It's just everybody else just feels like collection of misfit toys, and I hate to even include Brian Cage in that, assertion, but Brian Cage should be doing Brian Cage things, not being a hitman for Swerve. But here we are. Swerve is on fire. I love. I've always been a big Swerve fan. I love Swerve. I just wish they had more buoyancy all over the place in this pool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought this was cutting a heel promo 101 from Swerve Strickland. Like,
that was
perfect.
Exactly.
The tell the truth but be a dick about it. Lie when it makes sense. Like, again, there were no lies. He pointed out some things that clearly there's some things that are, out of Hangman's control and stuff like that. So, but that's what you want from your heel. he's going to point out some things that are objectively true, leave out some context, and try and get under your skin. I like Swerve coming for the spot. Hangman's a protected top guy. He hangs out with the elite. You know, the line's about, I don't even think you want that spot anymore. And then I liked Hangman just kind of sitting there and taking it because, like you said, JJ, that is Hanger's MO. He's going to turn the other cheek until you piss him off and take it too far. It was a little awkward with him sitting there until he went to leave and Swerve talked about his family, and then you saw that fire in him.
Then you got the good part of it, yes.
And I think that was a fine way to tell that story. Hangman, what does he have to really worry about with Swerve Strickland? Like in a storyline sense at the beginning of that promo, okay, dude, you're talking a lot of shit. We just learned a week ago you probably shouldn't punch your coworkers just because they said something mean, although you're now in the ring and not backstage in front of Tony Khan, so it's a little different. Yeah, I get Hanger being like, all right, dude, talk your shit. If you want a match, go ask the dudes in the back and we'll do it. I don't got time for this. Okay, cool. He talks shit about his family. He comes back in. And I'm going to be a little bit more negative than you were, JJ. You were a little bit more complimentary of Brian Cage. For me, the segment was good until Brian Cage showed up. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Who cares, right?
So out of place. The long black tights and like the face paint he's been doing recently. Not like, why, dude? Why are you doing all that? It immediately kind of took me away from this segment where I would have liked Hangman getting right back in, getting in face, like Swerve's face, even maybe shoving once, and then Swerve walking away smiling at him like, all right, we're going to take option B. You know, whatever you go back to what you were saying earlier, get your heel moment, go. Why is Brian Cage out there? And then they immediately rolled into next week on Dynamite, Adam Page versus Brian Cage 3. I don't really give a shit about the first two. And you just tease Adam Page and Swerve. Don't tease that and then be like, oh, here's some way lesser shit you get next week instead. Like, let me know when I'm getting Hanger and Swerve, because that is going to fuck as hard as any match has ever fucked.
Yes.
If you, Brian Cage deserves a spotlight, I feel like, right? He was a top guy in Impact for a reason, you know? And he came in the Team Taz thing. It wasn't bad. It was fine, right? Maybe move him back into a singles kind of, not a faction thing on that. I mean, fuck, you're printing and selling meat shirts now. Add another tenderloin. Yeah, I know. Add another fillet to that grill here. Throw Cage in the middle of them. Fantastic, right? Tony doesn't want to lose Cage. He wants to keep him, but he doesn't know what to do with him. And that's
I'm just out on Brian Cage. Like, he's kind of in that Sammy Guevara territory of I'm just not interested in anything he does. Like, his work is good. There's 40 other motherfuckers on the roster with really good work and like more interesting characters. And like, yeah, a lot of that is on creative, basically just making him a henchman. But at this point, like
if you took Swerve and Nana, just the two of them by themselves, right? Get rid of the rest of the whole Mogul Embassy, and Nana's just the mouthpiece manager behind Swerve. I'm fine with that.
Swerve doesn't need that.
If
he doesn't need it, no. But
if you're going to give Swerve a meat castle backing him up, where's Wardlow? Like, Swerve gives Wardlow what he's missing. Swerve doesn't really add anything to Cage. Cage is just there.
Yeah, and the other guys, the Gates of Agony, they become jobbers. I hate to even say it because I like them, but
so on Brian Cage, his gimmick is big, meaty, muscly guy.
Yeah,
who's cosplaying as Ace Frehley right now. Like,
and he's pretty athletic too, you know.
Yeah, but that his gimmick is I'm big and strong.
Yep.
You know, and some people are successful with it, some people aren't, and it's just what happens with it. Like, you remember how hard they tried to push Braun Strowman down our throats, and we just weren't biting on it because he's big and strong.
Right.
Same thing.
Like 6-week run in the fall of whatever year it was. Braun Strowman was the hottest act in the pro wrestling world for like 6 straight weeks.
He was, yeah.
And then he lost to Brock Lesnar, and then it was just done.
Right.
But there was a minute there where Strowman, when he was just trucking people and throwing shit around, like, was legitimately on the top of the wrestling world.
I think it's like when you take the break from like chasing after Roman, and then he was just on a tear, for a little bit, and then Lesnar happened.
Yeah, but I agree.
It was Wardlow, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
I would love to see like Swerve and War Daddy together.
Okay, I'm good with that. Yeah.
Hell, I would love to see War Daddy with Christian. Think about that for a hot second.
I think Wardlow's dad died, didn't he?
He did, dude. That's exactly where I was going with it.
Criteria.
War Daddy.
Christian School for Orphaned Youth. He's like our own it's Professor C over here,
Right after the show, I'm gonna tweet at Tony Khan like, I'm gonna be like, Christian Cage needs to have father figure as his walk-up song, like as his entrance song right now. So let's move on. Let's get to the main event and the biggest air quotes of all time. It was a reverse Darby Allin match. So Darby was doing things to Darby, that's probably the best way I can put it. That sounded really weird. Wear protection, folks. But anyway, so this 18-year-old kid was playing the part of Darby Allin against Darby Allin. That sounds a little bit better. But I hated this match. Period.
I hated the idea of this match because what did I say after that first week when they took, Nick Wayne his debut and they put him on a good for them. They're not going to rush him and put him down our throats. He just main evented Dynamite.
And when you think about that, how many other men and women are more deserving to main event than him? How that was even on the show? Hell, Roddy and them could have.
Roddy and Trent would have been a better main event. Let's be honest, because you could have had the MJF promo later on and ended it with that. Now you've got your main storyline tied into your main event, right?
Yeah, and this goes back to what I was saying about the tournament. Why is Nick Wayne in it? It doesn't mean he can't be, but tell me like what he did to qualify for this. As a one-off, as part of a tournament, I don't really mind this being the main event of the evening. I think we've been very spoiled with Dynamite, where there's been so many good main events, but there's also been so many just dope matches that open the show that main eventing one episode of Dynamite doesn't seem like as big of a deal as like Monday Night Raw, where they gatekeep that main event spot so hard. But AEW, sometimes they'll kick off the show with a world title match and they'll throw something else in the main. As a one-off, as long as they're not making a habit out of it, it's fine. Not what I want to see in the main event, but it is what it is. This match, one, I'm not very interested in what Darby Allin does anyway. He does nothing for me. Super over with the crowd, nothing against him, nothing against his work. It's just not for me, but I'm not going to sit there and rain on someone else's parade.
He is very
I get why people like him. I get why he's over. That's fine. Darby, there was a segment, it was during an entire commercial break. They did the Darby dives and kills himself, and he's down for the entire break. And one, you did the guys down getting checked by refs in Roddy versus Trent as well, and AEW does that way too much.
I agree.
At a certain point, if someone is injured to the point that the refs have to check on them and they have to spend 30 to 45 seconds telling the other guy to stand back because we're concerned for his health, the match should be called. Like that, it takes a little bit of that realism out of it. Not that you need a ton of realism in pro wrestling. But if you have, in the Trent and Roddy case, Roddy's getting checked on by the refs. Trent goes over there. There is a match going on. The bell did not ring a second time. It's still happening. If he goes over there to grab Roddy and Roddy's not ready, why does the ref tell him to wait back? We got to check on him. Well, if you have to stop the match, check on him, then you have to stop the fucking match, is how that should work. It's something that works in small doses. I think they go to the well on that a little too often. But seeing Darby Allin spend like a 3-minute commercial break down getting checked by refs and then throw it in, roll right back out, sell his leg, and then like 30 seconds later, it was like that never happened. That just kind of killed the whole match.
3 days after he looked like he left for dead in the ring anyway.
Yeah,
obliterated. I mean,
why do that there? Like, what? That didn't add to the match.
I knew this was what we're gonna get. We're gonna get Darby Allin versus Baby Darby Allin, and that was my worry because the whole time here, I praise Tony Khan, I still do, for jumping on the Nick Wayne train early, getting him signed as a youngster, right? Same thing with Billy Starks. Now Billy Starks is injured, and in a way, that's the best thing that's happened to her because they're able to do some character work on her, make her Athena's minion or whatever, and but. I just feel like you're not giving the kid time to really develop, right? Let him be a mid-carder. Let him come in. If you're going to have him be in some singles matches, cool, right? Have him go out there against, I don't know, AR Fox on Rampage. Cool, right? That's what you should be doing with him, not putting it up here in a match that, I don't know, teenage girls wanted to see maybe because it's Darby Allin. Yeah.
I agree with you, except for one small caveat. If all of this leads to Nick Wayne joining Christian, it was all worth it.
Okay, I'm with you.
It was all worth it. If that's the payoff, I'll sit through a Darby Allin Nick Wayne main event if I get Nick Wayne turning on Darby and joining Christian's family of fatherless children.
He is their father figure. So I do want to say, Heather did say this. He can't act. He has one expression. He is legit the Kristen Stewart of freaking professional wrestling. Like, I don't know how many of y'all seen Twilight.
He's barely 18.
But he's got the emotional range of Kristen Stewart. Like, that's all there is to it.
Which I expect him to at that young an age. Let's be honest.
Or Shailene Woodley, like even worse. Ugh. How that? Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about can't act.
Wow.
Sorry.
JB coming in with the takes. Look out, y'all.
Fight me. Yeah. Like there's some people who can't act. Some people are emotionless on purpose, and it works. Some people are emotionless, and it doesn't work.
Emotionless in life, and that's a different story.
Yeah.
So we get on Saturday, the first official semifinal is Darby Allin versus Roderick Strong.
And Roddy will win.
Please, Roddy win. Absolutely. Most definitely. And then who do you guys think is going to be the other one? Do you think it's going to be Penta or Jay? I bet it's going to be Jay Lethal and Joe.
I think Penta is going to beat Lethal. I think it's going to be Penta and Joe.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that.
Only reason I say Lethal and Joe is because that seems to be a common trope that Tony does with some of his booking is rehashing like old stuff, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you've protected Penta more than you have Jay Lethal over the last ever, pretty much, because Jay Lethal's just been putting on good matches and eating pins from people for a lot of his AEW run.
True.
Joe and Lethal, I mean, either way, it'll be good. I understand the thought between, hey, Joe and Lethal, you know what you're going to get. It'll be a great semifinal. But Joe and Penta, that's new and exciting. That's something that, like, I think
so.
People will tune in to see.
But I also think, though, that's something where you don't want that. Whoever's in that semifinal is losing to Joe, right? So they're a sacrificial lamb of sorts.
Penta can eat a lot to Samoa Joe.
Well, and I know that Jay could because that's why I think Jay.
That's the thing. Like if it's Lethal and Jay, or if it's Lethal and Joe, you know 100% Lethal's not winning. If it's Penta and Joe, you're pretty sure Joe's winning no matter what. But Penta's someone you could see them giving you like Penta and Roddy in a final or something like that. It's going to be Joe and Roddy, but
right, we know this.
And then there's also that's something worth tuning in for is Penta and Samoa Joe. Like it's one of those matches you didn't know you want to see until it's possible. It's like, oh, that'd probably be pretty fucking cool.
I mean, I definitely want to see that.
Yeah. I'm excited for Penta and Lethal. I think that's going to be great too. I might actually watch Rampage this week.
I am actually looking forward to Rampage. Like, it's like, ooh, bangers, but they usually have the low key bangers just hidden in there, you know. But now it's like, you know, you got two solid ass matches.
And it kills me because it's like some of the best women's matches that AEW puts on every week is on Rampage, and it's like it just gets buried in the middle of all the other stuff. So, all right, so we got 2 weeks to Grand Slam. So the 20th is Grand Slam. October 1st is the next pay-per-view, Wrestle Quest.
Wrestle Dream. You gotta say
Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream.
Yeah, spirit fingers, Jamie.
Or you do it real fast, and then you have like the Triple H exhale, like Wrestle Dream.
I'm just getting a picture of like the more you know star coming across here with like the words Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream.
Hopefully it's full of Joshis. That'd be great.
Going back to my love of just absolute silliness in pro wrestling, I want Wrestle Dream to be a crazy night where everything you never would have expected to happen happens, and then the next week on Dynamite, they literally say, "Oh, that was a dream. That didn't really happen." Like none of that.
Totally ignore it. Like just move right
like
on.
Riho beats MJF for the title, and then the next Wednesday they're like, "Man, did y'all have the same dream? That was crazy."
Julio show up.
He just walks out like, "What's up with you guys?" Like everybody's like, "What? He's got the title." He just cuts a promo like, "What are y'all talking about? Why is everybody saying I lost?"
I will say this. I don't know. Do you watch any Impact at all, Austin?
I do not.
I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to find, and I got keeping up with Dynamite Collision is all the new wrestling I have in me each week. I still watch a decent amount of late 90s WCW and some other shit too. So
true that. And maybe in upcoming stashes we'll get some updates on how that's been going for you.
Not going well, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I know, but I don't follow Impact as much as I want to. You just life happens, right? You know things, but I do appreciate, and they're continuing this like every year. They have one of their pay-per-views that they have every year is like a throwback to like Mid-South Jim Crockett Productions style. Like,
I remember seeing about that.
They do it. They still doing it once a year. Like every October, I think is when they do it. It's amazing. It's a complete one-off, just one-off, and then next week it's the same. It's the same Impact all over again. They're back to the regular. That's the sort of stuff that I like to see. You know, that's like the break. That's what Wrestle Dream needs to be. Not saying that, but you know that disconnect, like you were talking about, like out of nowhere, and then whoop, back to normal.
Yeah, I love it. Like if you're gonna go to monthly pay-per-views as well, probably not Wrestle Dream because they're doing a Japan crossover thing. But like if they do go monthly, have 2 or 3 a year that are like a real weird theme night, and not like necessarily weird, but like something fun. That breaks it up and makes it to where not every month you're paying off blood feuds that are now moving way too fast. Just have random nights like I said before, a million times, I love a good lethal lottery. Do the old one night lethal lottery, big battle royal at the end. Yeah. Do your Dynamite Diamond Cup as a pay-per-view. Like,
oh yeah,
there's a million things you could do to make those more fun for, you know, a handful of them a year.
Yeah, and you could do like a men's and a women's. So that way you get enough matches, you know, you could have like 8 people, boom, good to go.
Well, you could do one called like a contenders, where it's all these people trying to become like the number one contender for every belt.
Yeah, like
or Cyber Sunday. You know, remember that old thing?
You remind me of I can't remember. I'm trying to think. What was the TNA gimmick they used to do where they had like all the belts up and. You know, they had one night, they had like all the champions faced each other basically. And it's possible, happened twice that somebody walked out of there with all titles around their waist.
I vaguely remember that, but I don't think I actually watched it. I do remember
Kurt Angle was the first one to do it. I can't remember what it was, but it was like it was like right before the Hogan stuff happened. Anyway.
You bag well on a pole. Jesus Christ.
No. And Rosemary's No More is Courtney Rush now. Ha! There you go. Getting back at you for putting somebody on a poll. All right, we'll be back next week. The go home for, I mean, I guess we can call it a go home for Grand Slam, but Grand Slam's kind of like a almost pay-per-view, right? A free pay-per-view. But no, we got that, Wrestle Dream, and then 17th is Full Gear in LA. So lots of stuff going on here. So yeah, check us. Make sure you follow us as always. Hit the notification bell because you'll know when we do go live. Generally, it's after a pay-per-view. Spoiler alert. But we'll be back same bat time, same bat channel next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. Jamie, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 3 letters and 2 words. AEW is dickless.
Well played, sir.
That's callback, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
Peace.